Hello and welcome to the video review for the Transformers Generations Autobot Skids. Skids is a compact race car of some vague variety. He's got some nice red painting on the taillights as well as on his wheels, and he also has a nice red and white stripe that goes down the side. And his grille is also painted up with some yellow, some red, and some silver, and he has a nice Autobot logo right on his front there. Skids comes with two different weapons. He comes with a Tommy gun type weapon, and a assault rifle type looking weapon. And that is Skids without his weapons on. It's got a pretty coherent alt mode. You can see a little bit of robot kibble with the arms and the legs underneath, but generally I don't think anyone's displaying their figures upside down, so that shouldn't be an issue. For a size comparison, here he is next to two other fellow Generations figures, Bumblebee and Orion Pax. And he is roughly the same size as both of them. As you can see, Bumblebee is a little bit longer. Actually, they are both a little bit longer, so he's shorter than both of them, but not by much. To transform Skids, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up the side panels here, and then flip him over. And the two arms here are pegged into the sides, so you can unpeg them and fold them up. Oh, sorry. You're going to want to unfold this back section before you do that. And now you can fold the arms up, and the red portions here are going to click outwards, and the entire back portion back here is going to lift up. And if you spread the wings a little bit, this windshield will also unpeg and fold down on top of them. You can kind of just bunch all that stuff up and get it out of the way for now. You can then rotate his waist all the way around and pull down the sides here, rotate them around, flatten these red bits out, and that will create his feet and legs. You can then pull the two side bits out here, and they will actually slide out. Let's see if I can capture this. There we go. And then this entire front part here will fold forward, and Skid's head will flip out. You can push it forward and it will click in. And this entire back section will collapse back down, click in securely, and you can pull the doors up, and that is Skids in his first robot mode. Now, as I'm sure you noticed in the transformation, he had some extra guns tucked up in here, and he's also got kind of a weaponized mode. So the first thing you can do is go back here and open back his back panel and swing it down, and these little silver guns will actually pop up, and then you can just collapse that back panel back down. Next, these two wheel wells will actually rotate out to reveal a battery of missiles. do the same thing on this side. These arm cannons are actually on a butterfly, so if you pull one open, it will actually use some gears on the inside to pull them both open and give you kind of a double arm cannon. And then you can give him his weapons. Now there are two different ways that Skids can hold his weapon. This Tommy gun portion will actually plug into the back of the other weapon, and it can be used in a combined form. And there's actually a little tab in there. Not sure if you can see it. There's a little tab that forces it to be this way, even though this is backwards and this is not. So I'm not sure entirely why that is, but oh well. I generally like giving them to him separately, so I'm going to put the Tommy gun in his right hand, this weapon in this hand, and there is Skids, all weaponed up and ready to go. Now, I think this is a pretty solid figure. There are definitely a couple issues, mainly just his leg stability isn't wonderful. I don't have a serious problem getting him to stand. I mean, he's not that bad, but he's definitely not the most solid of figures that I've ever gotten. His arms are also kind of an issue for me. There's very little articulation, and more so they tend to kind of bow inwards, so he looks like he's trying to hold in some pee or something. I feel like I'm frequently trying to bow his arms back out into a more natural pose, and when you do that, he looks fine. So it's not like this is unsolvable or something. It's just a slight pet peeve for me that you have to do that over and over again. That being said, he has very little by way of obnoxious kibble. I mean, he's definitely got some stuff on his back, but he's a car former, so that's to be expected. These pokey back leg bits are a little strange, but I don't totally mind them, and I enjoy the fact that he's got the wheels on his feet. I think that's a nice touch. So all in all, he's a good figure. I do recommend him, especially if you're a fan of the comics, as I am. I like his character. I think he's pretty funny, so I definitely am happy to have an IDW representation of him. I do wish that they had gone with a more Cybertronian mode, but I understand why they are not doing that. In terms of articulation, he has some rotation on the shoulders, but it is incredibly hampered by multiple different bits smashing into each other. You have this giant shoulder rubbing up against all kinds of different plastic, so it's really not the best in terms of shoulder movability. And then you just have this ball joint elbow here, and then I don't believe there's no wrist articulation at all. It is molded. You have this very slight bend up here, but it is entirely for transformation. Down at the waist, you have the waist swivel for transformation, which is very tight actually, and holds in place very well. You then have ball joints, which are slightly loose on my guy. I wouldn't say terrible, but they are slightly slidey. And then he does have kind of two knees. He's got very heavily ratcheted knees, and then he's also got those transformation joints. Now, what I have noticed is because of the way the feet work, if you do not collapse this transformation joint all the way down, if you're trying to perhaps stand him like this, the feet will not bend forward enough for him to stand, and he will constantly be leaning at an angle and thus will not stand. That is due entirely to the fact that the feet will not bend forward enough due to their ball joints. The extra play that it gives it when you just fold those forward is entirely enough to alleviate that problem. So generally, I just leave those in that position and use these as the actual knees if I need any kind of knee posability. However, due to the limited posability of the ball joints on his feet, his knees generally do more harm than good. You're not going to be posing him doing much else but just basic standing positions and some arm movement and stuff like that. He's not going to be one of the more posable figures on your shelf, which is a shame. There's definitely some comic book poses I would have liked to get off with this guy, and it's really just not going to happen. And it's mostly to do with the leg situation going on here. I know why they're designed the way they are. It's interesting the way that they transform, and I like that. It just does hamper the ability to pose the figure a little bit, and if you're someone who thinks that's important, then it might bug you. Alright, that's it. Thank you guys, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.